Welcome to DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel, so let's get started. Welcome to another DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel, and today we have special guest, Maddie Stier. Maddie, how are you?
Awesome, Chris. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
I'm more excited, and you have had quite the journey. Did you run the Dallas Marathon as of recent, or?
Yes, yep, I
Okay.
ran the Dallas Marathon in December. So that was
Okay,
my
yeah.
that was actually my 20th marathon, so it was a big accomplishment for me.
Wow. So we'll talk a little bit about the Dallas Marathon. I talked to a lot of folks that ran that and a few people that won it, and the half, and et cetera. So we'll get into that in a minute. But I want to know a little bit more about you and your journey and who you are, and then we'll just dive into the questions if that's fair.
Yeah, sounds great.
Let's do it. So why'd you start running? When did you start running? Let's start there.
Okay, yeah, so starting way back at the beginning. So I know you've had a lot of my fellow DFW runners on lately, and I've enjoyed listening to all their podcasts. And what I think is really cool about a lot of them and a lot of these people that you see recently who have won all of our Dallas local races,
Yeah.
they've all gotten to running very recently, like within the past 5 years, which is a huge testament to show one, their athletic ability, but two, how hard they've all trained. I am very much on the other end of the spectrum, which maybe goes to show that I've taken a very long time to get where I am, but I more or less have been running really my whole life. My mom was super into running growing up, and both of my parents were really into fitness. I just knew if you wanted to exercise, you would go on a run. I'm one of 7 siblings. My sister particularly, she has always very much been into running, so I always saw her as almost crazy, like, why are you running so much?
Is she older?
She's younger.
Okay.
She is in the Marines, but she runs marathons,
Hardcore, huh?
and she ran her first marathon when she was 14. And she actually almost, I think at the time, if she would have been old enough, she would have qualified for Boston. And
Wow.
I remember seeing her finish. It was the Cleveland Marathon because we're from Cleveland, Ohio. I remember seeing her finish and just thinking, you are crazy. Why would anyone do that? But
Especially at that age.
I also think I was a little bit maybe jealous at the time. Okay, if my little sister's doing this, I can do it. So some sibling competition there. And that really, I ran track in high school. I played soccer. And then really into college, I went to University of Cincinnati and I ran on the University of Cincinnati Running Club. And
Uh-huh.
that's where I learned more about running a little bit more seriously. A lot of them were training at the time for the Flying Pig Marathon. And I just thought, okay, I guess if they're doing the marathon, I'll do the marathon. Why not? So I really just hopped in. And then back to my sister, she had come down because she was still in high school at the time. She came down the day before and she decided, I'll run it with you. So she just hopped in. I know she's a little crazy. Not normal. I very much know she's not normal, but she hopped in. And so I pretty much just ran it with her. And that's what started all of these marathons and my passion for running. And then, yeah, since
So let's
then,
back up.
yeah.
How'd you do during that marathon?
I think we ran actually, I was looking it up for this. So we ran a 3:26. So
This is your first.
yeah, and this was 2013. I remember when we were running that, we came up to I think it was the 3:30 pace group. And I remember the pacers telling me and my sister, hey, girls, if you stick with us, you'll qualify for Boston. At this time, I didn't even know what Boston was. All I knew
Yeah.
was
It's like, okay, cool.
I knew the bombing had just happened, so I knew it was a
Uh,
big deal because this was maybe a couple weeks after. But yeah, I had no idea. So I just thought that's how it went. You run. If you want to do Boston, you do Boston. It wasn't a big.
you didn't know how big of a deal it was to get in.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then from there, obviously, my eyes were widened and I realized it is a very big deal and definitely not something you take for granted.
So I have to back up because technology froze. So you went to college and you ran, and so is that right?
So I didn't actually run for the University of Cincinnati. I just ran on the running club, which
Got it.
was a group of kids that would get together after classes. There would be various meets and stuff, but I wasn't a competitive college runner by any means.
Got it. Okay. So you just ran in college through a running club. Awesome. And then the next thing was, oh, you should just do a marathon. and you're like, okay, let's do a marathon, and then your sister runs with you. Does she just run with you as, hey, I'll run with you to get you through this? Is that kind of how she saw it, or?
You have to think she was in high school at the time, so I think she was like, "I'm not gonna let my sister show me up here," and I
Yeah,
felt the same way. So I think that's really what contributed to it, and I beat her, so I will say
that was my next question. Did you beat her?
I did. I think I passed her at mile, like, 25 there, but yeah, me and her have been neck and neck. She still
Okay.
runs to this day, so me and her always have had very similar times.
Fun. Wow,
Yes.
I love it actually. I have a
Yes.
twin brother that got me into running.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't do any running anymore, but he got me into it, did it for a minute. He did it for a while and then got me into it. I started doing it and then he left and started doing yoga and some other stuff.
Hey,
So,
yoga can be very hard.
yeah, yeah, he does CrossFit. He's very active,
Yeah.
but he doesn't really do much running. All right, you got this one marathon down. That's good. And what was you're hooked, it sounds like?
Kind of. I then turned it into, okay, I qualified for Boston. I have to do Boston. So I ran Boston the next year.
You didn't do anything in between?
No, between then, because I was in college, I just thought that was the next thing on the plate. So I ran Boston,
Gotcha.
and I think I actually ran it a little bit slower than I had qualified. So I wasn't happy about that. So then I went back and
So
I
hard.
did, yeah, it's a hard course. I doubt, I don't really remember, but I'm sure I did not.
Did some running, not to what you know now is what we call training.
Exactly, yeah. So then that kind of was it turned into I wanna do another one to do better. So I think I turned around and I ran the Buffalo Marathon then right after that.
Okay.
So that's all I think Boston end of April, and then Buffalo is usually around Memorial Day weekend or sometime in May. So it was very
Hey, quick.
close. Yeah, and I was able to shave time off again and get closer to what I ran the pig. And then really from there it was just, oh, let's just do marathons and
Wait,
keep
did you
running
say
for
the pig?
fitness. Yeah, the Flying Pig Marathon, the Cincinnati
Oh,
Flying
that's what it
Pig.
was called,
Yeah.
the flying pig.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I
called
had to stop for a minute. I was like, what?
yeah, it's called the pig.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Flying Pig, but people call it the pig.
Okay.
Yeah. So really from there, I would do 1 or 2 marathons a year. Didn't really train like I do now. I think that really came when I moved to Texas, which was
Why'd you
in
move to Texas?
so I moved to Texas in 2018 and then
Job?
yeah,
Marriage? Whatever?
job, yeah.
Okay.
Came down here for work and that's where I really got connected with the running community and learned what Track Tuesday is, what tempos are, really switching it up, how to build in workouts into your long runs. So when I started training down here, at the time I started with Frisco Running Club. And then I
Huh.
slowly learned and I met people from White Rock, the White Rock
Wait,
Co-op.
our co-op? Who'd you meet?
So my first connection, so I don't know if you Taylor Murphy. I ran with him a lot and part of the Frisco group. And then me and him, we connected with Alex Barrientos, Ray
Yeah.
Nichols, Mel at the time, of course, Javier, Brent Woodall, all of those. So we typically what we would do is we would train up here in Frisco, Plano during the week, and then we would go down to White Rock for our Saturday long runs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you in Frisco area
I live
or
in Allen.
you do?
So
Okay.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah. Originally I lived in Frisco, but yeah, now I'm over in Allen. But yeah, it was really running with started a bit with Frisco Running Club, then Ray Nichols, so Ray's Track Club. Originally, that was our core group, and we would meet for track, and then we would all go down on the weekends. And
I
this
should
was
interview him, by the way.
100%.
I've heard of him a few more. I know him, but I haven't talked to him in a
I
long
think of
time.
Ray as like the DFW running president. He knows everyone. He will connect everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray is great.
Yeah, I'll get with him. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely should. Yeah, and this was even pre-sloths, pre all of that. This was back like 2018, 2019. So then after my first real training cycle here, and I started running with the co-op downtown or down by White Rock and all of that. I remember Brent Woodall said on one run, I don't even know if he remembers this. He told me, because I hadn't broken 3 yet in the marathon, and he said, if you run with this group, you'll break 3. Everyone in this group breaks 3. And I remember thinking among this group, and there was a big group on a Saturday morning, just thinking, okay, I can keep up with them now. So just stick with it and eventually it will happen. So that year I was training that was the 2019 Boston Marathon. So it was basically the first full year I had lived in Dallas and I was going for a sub 3.
At Boston?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Clearly, I don't have a very good plan going into these, but I was
Hey,
going,
run the miles, do the
yeah.
work,
I mean,
maybe.
yeah, pretty much. But I ran a 2:54 that year, and I remember
No.
finishing, and I was blown away. I think
Wow.
I
What was
told
yours previous PR before that?
the previous PR before that was a 3:08.
Okay. So it's a lot, but it's still
Yeah,
okay. I see it because you're
yeah.
running with the co-op.
I was shocked, and I remember I think I titled my Strava after that run, "Holy shit, did I just do that?" Because I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I just
I
'cause
love it.
I
That's
mean,
exciting.
now you hear so many people break 3, and I just listened to your episode with Matt Campbell, and they're talking about all these 2:20, 2:30 runners. That's great. They are epic people. But for me at the time, like, sub 3, no way.
You
That's
know,
a
it's
leap.
funny. You know, it's funny that you say that because that's what came to my mind was during that podcast, Matt Campbell said, he goes, if I can break 230, and he even said this because I've quoted him a couple of times already. It's the only reason I know. But he goes, the only person that really was breaking 230 at the time and still for now is Brent Woodall. He's like this magic unicorn. But if I break 230, then all of us are going to break 230. Same thing that Woodall said to you,
That's
right?
true.
If
That's
you
true.
run with this group,
Yeah.
you're gonna get under 3. And what happened? You got under 3. Why? Because it's doable. Like you're already running a 308.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You just have to run with these people. Then confidence builds upon confidence. It's all about the community. I say this almost in every podcast. It's crazy, but
Yeah.
it's true. You
100%.
proved it already.
Yep.
Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. No, one of my favorite quotes is, "If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room."
Yeah.
It goes to show with running too, if you're the fastest person in the group, you're in the wrong group.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. All right.
Yeah.
254. That's great. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, so that was 2019, and then since then, I kept trying to chip away at that time. I sat in the 254, 253 range for a bit, and then 2020 was supposed to be a really big year for me for running. At the time, I had a goal. I wanted to hit all of the world majors before I turned 30. And so at that time, I had done Boston, I had done Chicago, and I had done Berlin. So then in 2020, I was supposed to do both Tokyo and New York. So I was training for Tokyo, and
I
that's
already know
when,
what's coming.
yeah, so that's when everything happened.
Yeah.
Found out it was canceled maybe 2 weeks out. And I had all this training and I thought, what the heck am I supposed to do now? And I think then I can't remember who texted me about it. It honestly might have been Liz Northern from Fort Worth and said, I heard what happened about Tokyo. You should do Cowtown instead. And I was still newish to
The
Dallas.
50K you did?
I did do that, but this was the year of the marathon.
Okay. Got it.
So I signed up to do the marathon. It was basically, I think it was maybe the next week or something, but I was already trained.
You're ready.
And it actually was a great year for me to do it because 2020 was also the year of the Olympic marathon trials. A lot of the fast girls were at the trials that year.
Perfect.
So, perfect segue for me to go and run the marathon. And I actually was able to win the Cowtown Marathon that year,
Have
which
you ever
was
won a marathon before?
that was the
Or
first
that?
time. No, so that was the
How'd that
first that was awesome. That was a really cool feeling. Especially I
That's
mean,
awesome.
Cowtown is such a good race. I like to go back every year. I love that race.
I do their half every year for 10 years.
Yeah,
It's
awesome.
I love the atmosphere in Cowtown. I did interview Heidi. She's the race director
Okay.
earlier this year.
Yeah, they do. Gary, who runs their elite program,
Yeah.
it's top notch. So definitely a huge shout out to him.
So how'd you do? What was your time?
So that year for Cowtown, my time, I won it in a 2:53. So was still
PR.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it was a PR
yeah.
that time. So I was still chipping away. And yeah, I was very happy with that. Then, of course,
Should.
COVID happened and life shut down. And then I kept training and I ended up doing the Woodlands in 2021.
Okay.
And that is my current PR. So that I ran a 250. And honestly, I didn't run it very smart. I'm pretty sure I highly positive split. But it was a
Went too
PR.
fast.
Yeah,
I always say whatever it takes.
I don't think the listeners are gonna get much tips from me because I don't do these very smart. So yeah, that's my PR. And then
Do
after
you so
yeah,
I want to
yeah,
touch on that because I'm somewhat similar and I have run races where I'll negative split it, but it's rare. A lot of times I go out too fast. Like I'll go 30 seconds too fast per mile, thinking I can hit that, and then I don't because then I'll start positive splitting. But if you're hitting PRs, I think that yeah, to me that means you went out too fast maybe, but and you felt it at the end because you probably felt like shit after the 250. But maybe if you would have been smarter, you wouldn't have felt as bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's kind of how I see that. You still PR'd and you still had a great race. Although you positive split it, you still obviously had your best race.
Yeah.
You probably just how you feel afterwards
It's
is
not
going
as
to be,
fun. It's
yeah, it's not as fun.
it's
I
fun to
mean,
PR, but yeah.
yeah, later you can talk about it. Anyways,
Yeah, like when I ran Chicago 2023, and I think my splits were almost perfect. And I finished that race feeling so good. And I know I
exactly.
went out conservative. I ran it with basically your co-host Jennifer Pope. She was injured, so she was just going to run it with me. But I'm also weird when I run marathons. I don't necessarily like it. I don't really like to run with anyone else because it can sometimes gets in my head. So I told her, I would love to have you as company, but don't talk to me. So she just ran behind me basically until her hamstrings gave out because she was injured. But that was funny. You see the pictures, and there's me, and then there's her right behind me.
That's awesome though. So you're running with her before or during kind of some of the runs that you do just
Yep.
every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Jennifer and I run together at least once a week. I
Okay.
ran with her earlier today. So me and her always go back and forth, and we bicker on start times and where we're going to run because me and her are both very stubborn. And then the
I mean,
guy,
and she's a great runner.
oh,
If you think
yeah.
about like just her story, like you're saying, a lot of them are new. She's pretty new at running. And hitting like 235 is
Yeah.
ridiculously
Yeah.
awesome.
She's a very talented runner for sure.
Yeah. All right. So you run, you said Chicago with her, right? Did
Yeah.
you say Chicago? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't PR then. Doesn't sound like because your
No,
last one was
it was not a PR, but maybe a big chunk I
you felt
skipped.
good.
So I PR'd at the Woodlands. I thought I would continue down the track of PRing, and I ended up running Houston in 2022, and I ran a 254. I thought my training had gone great, but honestly, not just the marathon, but the half marathon, I felt like I plateaued. And that kind of segues into maybe my journey as a mom because I had been waiting all this time I wasn't really waiting all this time, but I was strategically thinking in my head, how do kids and running fit in? How can I even keep doing marathons when I
I
become a
guess we're about to
mom?
find out here shortly.
Yeah. And after Houston didn't go as planned, I still did well, but I don't know. It didn't go as well as I would have liked. I thought, okay, now I think I'm ready to do this whole motherhood thing. And my good friend Mel, she had just had a kid. My friend Amy Lyles had just had a kid. So I saw
So it's
other
ready.
moms.
Your all your friends are having kids,
Yeah.
and you've been thinking about it. Now it's time.
Yes, yes. So ended up getting pregnant in right after Houston, pretty much, and then I had my daughter December of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah,
You have really young kids.
yeah. I up until December, I had 3 kids under the age of 2.
Yeah, that's great.
People talk about 2 under 2.
Three under
We
two.
had 3 under 2. Yeah. So I had my daughter, and I was pleasantly surprised that I had a relatively easy pregnancy where I could run my entire pregnancy. So
By the way, I saw this Instagram post of you with both your pregnancies. I was gonna
yeah,
say kids, but one of them was twins. So
yeah,
with where you're kind of show like your belly from the beginning and then you go all the way.
yeah.
And I was like, you couldn't even tell the first time that you were pregnant until the last couple of months, 2 or 3 months. Like it was like, oh
You
my God.
are too kind.
Now, because you had twins the next one, it was a little bit more obvious.
Yeah.
You're super fit. So I think that
Thank you.
was it was just very interesting. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's funny you say that. I was huge with the twins. I remember my sister-in-law, she came to see me because she came to help us with the 2-year-old when the twins were born. And she saw me and she's like, oh my gosh, you're huge. I'm like, yeah, I know.
You
So
had twins,
what's
you know?
actually interesting though is I gained less weight with the twins than I gained with one. I have no idea
Really?
how. I don't know how that works, but somehow, yeah,
Did.
it
Who
did.
knows?
Yeah. But
All
so
right, so the first one you have, and it was easy-ish
yeah,
pregnancy, so that's
easy.
good.
I got to come back to her birth. I know I am so lucky for being able to say that everything went very well. No hiccups. Her delivery was super seamless. My recovery was great. And really, I was able to just jump right back into running. Yeah, I feel like I didn't really skip a beat with her. Came back and was able to get back in shape throughout the summer. And then that's when I ran the Chicago Marathon in 2023. So my daughter was 10 months old at that time when I ran Chicago.
Yeah. Was it easy? Like when you think about having a partner, husband, how does that work? Do you have family that helps? Does your husband help? What's the
Yeah.
whole kind of helping situation out? Because I mean,
Excellent
you gotta
question.
have.
It's impossible to do without help. We don't have any family here, unfortunately.
Okay,
Me and my husband are both from Cleveland, Ohio.
it's all him and all you.
Yes. So I would not be able to do any of this if it was not for my husband. He gives me way, way too much grace when it comes to running. We have our system, we have it built, and you talked about your brother like in CrossFit. My husband is very into CrossFit. So he likes to go 3 days a week. And then I like to run every day. So how does that work? So we have our system, but even he holds down the fort on Saturdays so I can leave for these long runs. And at first with one baby, it's not a big deal, but then
It becomes a little
it
harder,
comes a
yeah.
little bit harder when you add more kids into the mix. So
Especially twins.
twins, yeah. So that's what happened after. So after I ran
You
Chicago,
go, yeah.
we knew that we wanted two kids close in age. And I always said, oh, two under two would be cool. Let's just do it. Let's just get it over
As
with.
they grow up, you
Yeah, it'll
get a
be
lot of
close in
fighting, but
age.
as they become older, I have three brothers. You
Yeah,
have a lot of
yeah.
siblings. You fight a lot in the beginning. When you hit your 20s, you become friends forever for the most part.
Yes, we wanted two under two. And then, so after Chicago, I figured, okay, now's a good time. And it's weird, you build your pregnancies into your training schedules, but I guess as runners, that's
I
what we
love it.
do.
That's what runners do.
I know. It's funny because you talk to some guys and they are planned different. I don't know. Some guys have talked about, oh, when is a good time to get their vasectomy or something like that. And then
Yeah.
they'll talk about how much time they need to recover. And I'm just like, you guys don't even know. Us girls, we have to deal with
Couple weeks, that's all you, or
pregnancies.
less. That's all you need.
Yeah, it's
I've already had all that happen, and it wasn't that long.
yeah. And I'm just like, come on, guys. We have to
Yeah,
deal with
exactly.
basically a year of pregnancy, postpartum, all of that. Maybe TMI for what you want on your podcast, but
No,
okay.
it's not. I think this is
Okay.
good. When you talk about postpartum, is it obviously it's a real thing. How did that affect you at all with your first or second?
Yeah, postpartum is a real thing. Again, I think I'm very fortunate that I didn't really have postpartum depression or the baby blues that a lot of people have. It is a mind trip, I'll tell you that. Going from being pregnant to not, you are on high alert and your hormones are all over the place. Really, for me, even and I can get into it with a twin pregnancy, but that's why right away, as soon as I could, I would at least walk every day to get out because before I had my daughter, I had a 7-year run streak where I was running for every single day. So going from
Seven
that,
years?
yeah, 7 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
But I don't know if you want to count it a run streak because I've heard some people say it doesn't count unless it's like a minimum of 3 or 4 miles. Mine was just a minimum of 1 mile. So
Who cares?
yeah,
That counts.
yeah. After then having the kids and not being able to run, it's hard.
I guess that would have been hard to lose that streak one, but then realize that I can't get out there every single day anymore.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. It is definitely different. I guess back to we're taking
That's fine. We're doing good.
yeah,
Doing great.
we're all
This
over
is
the
awesome.
place, but it's good. Sidebars, that was the word I was looking for. So back
That
to
was my fault, by the way. I
no,
like
it's
to go on
good. It's good.
sidebars.
I like the
So
sidebars. So yeah, after Chicago, we wanted to go for our second kid and we were lucky where we were able to get pregnant pretty quickly right away. I got pregnant. My husband did not get pregnant.
just say we. We'll just go with it.
I knew this is where it gets funny. So I basically knew I was pregnant right away. I could just tell before I even took a pregnancy test. I could just tell. I actually had taken one early and it was negative, but I think it was too early. But finally, I took one. It was positive, and my sister-in-law, she's basically my best friend, she was visiting, and she has one of those like a home Doppler, which is basically you can listen to the baby's heartbeat. And this was before I had gone to the doctor or anything. So
Okay.
yeah,
That's kind of fun.
I just knew I was pregnant with one. We thought,
Oh
oh,
no, this is where you
let's
hurt.
see if we can hear the heartbeat. So she's doing it and she listens on one side. She's like, oh, I think that's the heartbeat. We're like, oh, cool. She goes, yeah. And she's, wait, but is this the heartbeat over here or is that your heartbeat? We're like, I don't know. This is weird. I'm just like, you don't know what you're doing. We didn't
Apparently
think
she does.
anything of it.
Yeah.
And then I go to the first ultrasound and the the ultrasound tech does a scan and the first thing she says is, "Oh, you're the lucky one. It's twins." I was speechless. I could not. I think I said, "Are you shitting me?"
Yeah.
And my husband just sat there, my gosh.
I see shit. No.
Yeah, and you're a twin, so I guess, but all I could think of was dollar signs. We already
Yeah.
have a baby at home. How the heck are we going to do this? How am I going to be able to run? How huge am I going to get? All of those things went through my
Figure it
mind.
out. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the
That's
start
crazy.
of the twin endeavor.
So a little sidebar. My mom, whenever she got pregnant with me and Buddy is his name is my brother's name. It was a long time ago, right? I'm 50. So you can imagine 50 years ago when they didn't have all the same things. And my mom was not, she was a teenager. I think she was 17, 18 when she had us. And so she had Buddy, and they were like, wait, here's another one. What? So she didn't know, number one.
What?
And so they're like, yeah, here's another one. And she said, oh my God, there's
So
another.
she didn't know until delivery.
She
That
did
is
not know
wild.
until delivery and until one was done and then another one's coming. She didn't know until then.
Wow.
Yeah,
She
could have
must
been
have
like that.
thought during her whole pregnancy, this is an active child.
Yeah,
He
I don't
must
know.
be huge.
Yeah, that's a little sidebar,
That is crazy.
but we all have our stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, you
No,
figure out
that's
you're gonna have two babies.
yeah, figure out
A
we're
little
gonna have
shocking.
two. So and it was funny because it was right before a bunch of me and my running friends, a bunch of the sloths, we were getting together for lunch that day. It was a holiday lunch. This was around Christmas time. So we had
Right.
the ultrasound, and me and my husband go home, and then we're about to go to this lunch. So I just remember just sitting at that lunch, like, I can't tell anyone yet. What am I
Yeah.
supposed to do? Yeah.
That's the hardest part is when you can't tell people because
Yeah.
you want to make sure things are okay and all these things, but then you have a double whammy there. You
Yeah.
get twins
Yeah.
that you can't wait to tell somebody, but yet
Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big challenge to keep a secret, but it
I'm
was
sure.
really fun to tell people about a twin pregnancy. Because the second kid, you tell people you're pregnant, they're like, "Oh,
Yeah, oh, that's
cool."
great.
Yeah.
I'm having twins.
When you tell people twins, and especially when you already have a baby, they think you're
Yeah.
crazy. But to be
Oh,
honest,
it's not like you picked twins.
I didn't
I'm
know.
sure you're happy now,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, true. And I didn't really feel I felt crazy, but another name I'll drop is I don't know if Madeline Rouse. She is another runner. She's a sloth. Again, her name is Madeline. She has four kids, and her youngest two are twins. And she is my inspiration because she has these kids and she's still able to pull off running in these high mileage weeks. And she's a sub 3 runner. She did it all. If she did it, I can do it. So she was my inspiration the whole pregnancy, and I text her all the time now about twin stuff. So twin moms definitely stick
That's
together.
awesome. See, running brings people together
Yes.
in not just running, right?
Yes.
Just in friendships and things.
100%. All my best friends are from running. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You all have something in common, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So then really just throughout the pregnancy progressed. It was pretty uneventful. Somehow
Did
I
you
was
run during?
good. Somehow I was
Okay.
able to run the entire twin pregnancy. Towards the end, it turned more to run walking, but I still got out there. Unfortunately, with the twins, fortunately or unfortunately, whatever, it ended up being a C-section. So that takes a lot more recovery than my daughter. But when I was finally able to jump back in and train, it's a journey, but it's had its ups and downs. And I finally feel like now I'm really back in shape and I can do it again.
Let's go slightly back from now till December. You did run a pretty good marathon in Dallas, like a 3:01, I think I saw, or 3 hours and like one
One
something.
second.
Yeah.
Can you believe
I
that?
was like,
I look at it as a positive because
huh,
my dad was visiting, my dad and brother, and
how is that not a positive? I was never going to say it's a negative.
they brought my daughter to the race, to the marathon, and I ran off to give her a kiss and I ran back.
Oh,
So she is the reason for the 1 second. So
one second.
yes, it's because of her and
It's
it's
worth it.
good. It's worth it. It's a badge of
Yeah,
honor.
it's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other marathons.
Yeah.
So,
But Dallas, it was really just supposed to be get back in shape, postpartum, let's see what we can do. Boston, which I'm training for now, was the real goal. And Dallas training, it went really well. I really think I had more in the bag than I gave, but it was a terrible day. I'm sure you talked to other
terrible day.
people, very humid. So
Yeah,
that took its
I
toll.
paced the 150 the
Okay.
half. So I just remember I was like, man, this is a rough day
Yeah, it was
for
rough.
marathoners.
It was very rough. Yeah, it really
So,
brings us to where we are today. Training for Boston, we'll see how it goes.
do you have a goal in mind?
If I could do sub 3, I would be happy. I would be ecstatic. Obviously, PRs are always in the back of your mind.
Of course.
Just given my life right now and how crazy it is with the 3 kids and work and everything, being able to train and do the mileage that I'm doing is a big enough accomplishment for me where I would be happy with a sub 3. And if it's closer to the 255 range, that's awesome too.
Talk about training for Boston. Tell me about the mileage, how you're doing that, and all of that stuff, because I think now you do have 3 kids.
Yeah.
How are you managing that? What does the training look like and that kind of stuff
Yeah,
for Boston?
so I definitely do higher mileage than probably most. I very early mornings to be able to get it to work. Usually 5 a.m. starts because I have to get in as many miles as I can before the kids wake up. And then, or it will be basically wait until my husband pulls in from getting back from CrossFit, and then I take off right away so we can tag team with the kids. So there's that. And then
So he gets up early to go do CrossFit.
yeah, when he goes to 5 a.m. class, so he's back in time too. And then it's I would say it's 90% of my training is in the morning. And then most recently when I've been getting higher up in mileage, I'll add in the doubles, the 4 miles for a couple times a week to be able to peak in the peak week.
Kind of like the sloth mentality, right?
The doubles.
Yeah, the doubles.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I
And
think it is.
yeah, a lot of us do doubles because it's with work, it's hard
Can't
to
do all.
do it all in the mornings.
Can't do 15 or 20 miles or whatever the number is.
Exactly. And it's impossible to get into the 90s or 100-mile weeks without doing doubles. So you have to be able to build it in.
Do you do a lot of speed work, or is it just mainly?
Yep. Yeah, I'll do speed work every Tuesday. I'll do some assortment. A lot of times it's been marathon pace meets. Me and Taylor Murphy and some other sloths will meet at Fowler Middle School in Frisco, or I guess it's in Plano. And there's a really good 3 mile loop that has hills, which we'll do a lot of MP and like tempo work on. So that's been really good for training. And then going long on the weekends and building in a lot of alternating marathon pace or half marathon pace workouts into the long run.
Okay,
A
that
lot
makes
of that.
sense.
And then I also, something maybe a little unique about me too, is I do a lot of strength work on top of that. So I don't physically go to a CrossFit class, but I'll see my husband's workouts and he'll share them with me and I'll do them at home. And we have a really good setup in our garage where I'll do a lot of strength training.
What kind of strength training do you mean? Is it a lot of leg stuff or whole body kind of stuff, or
Whole
like
body, push ups, burpees, box jumps,
how many
weight
pull-ups can you do if you were to, out of curiosity?
at
Because
one
I've been
time.
working on it. Yeah, let's say if you had to do it all at once.
We do 10, pretty good
Yeah,
form, and then it would get pretty sloppy from there.
yeah.
But
I can only do 7 or 8. I've been
yeah,
working pretty heavy lately on that. As you get older, it gets harder, and if you never do it, then.
it's
But
hard.
now I've started to do some of those, and it's like when you get older, you really gotta, work on your core and stuff. I mean, it's just this sounds like you've been doing a lot of really good strength training. That's probably really going to be helpful to you.
Yeah.
That's great. How do you think about like when you go into marathon, things you eat? Is it goose or what? I'm just curious how your nutrition works.
Yeah, for me, it has definitely changed especially since postpartum with the twins. I used to be a big UCAN advocate. I loved UCAN. I would take the powder and I would drink it 45 minutes before long runs. After the twins, it really didn't sit well with my stomach. I have actually switched. I do a combination. I do gels. I really like the BPN, Bare Performance Nutrition gels, and then Morton's always great, but it's very expensive. So I save
I
those
use
for the
those too.
big workouts.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite, and I usually will do it for longer. It really depends, but longer run workouts, I'll do them every maybe 5 or so miles. And then I try to consume a lot of electrolytes prior. I actually surprisingly have a quite sensitive stomach, so I have to make sure I eat very bland almost the day before big workouts and races.
So I'm not a big fan of eating a big ton of food the night before. Like people were like, "Oh, I gotta eat this big plate of spaghetti or something like that." I'm like, "No, I'm just getting some fish and
Same.
vegetables or something." You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
So during the race, how does that work? Like you take maybe 5 or 6 gels overall, or do you take more?
Yeah, five
I
or
think I
six.
saw you running on one of your videos and you had full of stuff. And I was like, dang, I think that's really interesting that maybe it was during Dallas or something. You had these red shorts on and the
Yeah,
pockets looked really full.
I
So
know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Yes, I do carry my gels. However, I also run with my phone, which
Oh,
takes up
okay.
space, and I also run with EpiPens. Yes, I learned that the hard way, but I carry EpiPens with me when I run, which also take up space. But yeah, my friends make fun of me for having loaded pockets all the time. I used to run with
I feel like a
nothing.
jerk now.
No,
Sorry.
no, you
But
are
I did
fine.
notice you had a lot of stuff in your
It is a
pockets.
lot. I like the sports bras that have the pockets in the back that I'll use, but during marathons, that's hard to get stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of cargo that I carry with me.
So I wasn't just imagining things.
No, it's true, and it's something I get made fun of, but I'll take it if it means I survive.
Whatever
Fine by
works.
me.
EpiPens, you've got to have those. Jeez.
Yes.
Any stories about that? You said you learned the hard way?
Yeah, so I feel like so many people have heard this story, so people are going
Nobody's heard this story
to.
that's listening to this.
So I am deathly allergic to fire ants, actually,
Wow.
which I know is unique, but I did not grow up here. I grew up going to Florida and stuff when I was younger, but I guess it's something you can develop over time. Did I lose you? Looks like it stopped for a
No, you're
second.
still there.
Oh, there we go. Okay. There was two different instances. One instance it happened on a run, and thankfully there was a nurse on that run with us. Connor Brock and Ray Nichols was on the run, and a few others, but they were able to take me to an urgent care. We didn't know at the time what it was. It was in the summer, and we thought maybe I was just dehydrated. That one was bad, but not as bad as the next time. So we didn't know it was fire ants that caused that. We just thought maybe this was a weird one off incident. The second time it actually happened when I was at home, and Eric Brettel was over. My husband was there, and I got bit, and it quickly got bad. They had to call 911, and I got taken in, and basically I went into anaphylaxis, and we learned I am deathly allergic to fire ants. Very scary situation. Anaphylaxis is terrible. Since
I wouldn't
then,
know, but sounds
yeah,
like it.
I had no idea. I didn't know that a reaction like that could even happen. And then
What is it in the fire ants that you're allergic
just
to? That makes no
they have
sense.
a venom in them.
Oh,
So the fire ant venom. And what's interesting is you could go get a test and it could say you're allergic to fire ants, but that doesn't mean you're
yeah,
going to have a reaction like me. So you
yeah.
can't really go in, and I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on this. You can't go in and get tested and understand what's going to make somebody have a certain type of reaction. Yeah, it could show that you are going to have a reaction, but ER worthy, you don't know. So that's what's very scary about allergies. So it's been a long journey, but I do fire ant shots now. Doesn't mean I'm immune, but it definitely will help if
Helps.
in the case that I get bit. And I feel like I tell everyone I know because you could stop for water and there might be a fire ant hill there and you don't know. So I have
Yeah,
EpiPens with me.
exactly. Especially in Dallas.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, it was a very scary situation. And when that happened, I was, I think, maybe 12 or 14 weeks pregnant with my daughter.
Oh my
So
God.
that's actually how Eric Brettel found out I was pregnant because he had to call 911. I shouldn't laugh about this, but when he called 911, they asked, "Oh, is she pregnant?" And he was on speaker, and Eric said, "No, she's not pregnant." And my husband, who's trying to make sure I'm okay, yells, "Yes, she is pregnant." So that's how that's how Eric found out.
Yeah, see, I told you didn't look pregnant.
Yeah, that was really early on.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I appreciate you sharing that story. That's intense. I'm allergic to shellfish. I'm not going to get stung by a shellfish during a run or anything. So,
Yes, maybe not a threat while running.
yeah, he's not run. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. That's good that you carry that. It's kind of a bummer that you have to, but
Yeah,
it is what it is,
thankfully
right?
they have these because originally the EpiPens are these big EpiPens, and
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
yeah, I was saying I like to run. This is annoying to carry. They actually have these smaller. They're called the AviQ. They're just a small rectangle about that big or so, smaller than the palm of your hand, and I can carry that. I used to have to carry two. Now that I've done the shots, I can get away with carrying one, and I just keep the other one in my car.
You just put it in your pocket or
Yep.
something? Oh, okay.
I always try to find shorts that have pockets or a sports bra with pockets because I don't like the belts or any of those things.
Yeah, I would either. Now, so Boston is your main race now. Are you bringing the family or?
Yeah, so me and my husband are going to go and we're going to bring the twins.
Okay.
I told you I'm one of seven, so family across the globe. My brother lives in Wayland, Massachusetts, which is along the course. So we're going to stay with him and his wife. So we'll visit them. And my daughter will stay here with my mother-in-law.
Okay, good. That's positive. You got some help there a little bit,
We probably could leave the twins too, but it's a lot to leave it's a lot to leave with one person.
for sure.
And I'm not ready to leave them yet either. Just me being a
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah, you will be though. That just takes time. Are you all right? So, what's after Boston? What's the plan after that? You just going to take some time off, or is it
I tell everyone it's Maddie's summer of strength season.
okay?
So
Do
I
some 5Ks and 10Ks?
that's what I'm titling it. Yeah, I'll do 5Ks and 10Ks, but I really do just want to focus more on the strength aspect and do a lot of HIIT workouts, CrossFit workouts. I have some goals that I want to achieve this year on non-running goals, like strength goals. So I want to focus on that. And TBD if I do a marathon this fall. Boston has been a lot training for it just with my life situation. So if I do one in the fall, winter, maybe CIM, but I'm
That'd
still
be a good one.
TBD on that.
A really cool 5K is called Mambo Miles. I don't know if you've ever heard of it,
Margaritas.
but Yeah. So it might be an opportunity in June. Talked to Travis today. Travis, he runs with you guys every now and then. Anyways, hey dude, you got to do this 5K, and this is where the parties are at. It's all the 5Ks. Oh,
Mambo miles.
Mambo Miles.
Yeah,
It's yeah. Get a Mambo taxi or two,
that is
right
great.
after the 5K. I don't
When
know
is
what it
it?
is about these
In
5Ks.
June?
It's in June. Yeah,
Okay.
type in Mambo Miles,
Yeah.
and it's right there. Sign up, say hello. I'll be in Boston, by the way. My wife is running her 12th Boston Marathon in a row, and then she goes right to London. I'm not going to go to London with her. I'll go to Boston. So I'm running the 5K. And I told Brent I would try to beat him. That's not going to happen. It's just a joke.
Congrats to
But
your wife though. 12 in a row. That's
yeah, yeah. So it's exciting for her. And she, again, she's going to London, which she'll just run and walk that one because you can't run hard 2 marathons, I don't think, in a row, one week after another. But
Do you know Farrell? He did that a couple years ago. He did Boston and then he went and did
insane.
Chicago during the COVID year when they were back to back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way. Did I miss anything? Is there anything that I should have asked that I just completely missed?
I think so. I just want to say I love what you're doing with the running community. I know a lot of people listen to this. I called out my sister a few times, but she lives in Hawaii and she listens to this. She asked me
She does?
after I think it was after Matt's. She just listened to Matt's and it was right after you texted me to be on this. She said, "When are you going to be on Chris's podcast? Because it sounds like all your friends are." I was like, "Oh, he just texted me actually." So, yeah, it's funny.
That's
So,
funny.
you're reaching far and wide.
That's good. And if she ever wants to come on, let her know that she's welcome. I'm always open to have other runners that want to talk about their running journeys and things. Yes, it's a DFW focus, but at the same time, I
You
can go
get a
out.
random girl from Hawaii.
Yeah, from Hawaii,
Random.
10 downloads. No, there's some people that listen.
Yeah.
No, I think that it is funny because I did have an elite athlete on from Houston, and he did okay from a download standpoint. And but no, he's just not known in Dallas Fort Worth, right?
Mhm.
So people are like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, makes sense. I think it's cool when people hear their friends. They like to hear their friends' stories. Keeps me entertained when I was doing all my doubles.
I always tell people is when you get on, it's kind of, and I didn't tell you this, but generally if they're nervous or something, it's like, hey, it's just like you and me running together.
Yeah.
We come out, I just want to know about your life. And it's probably going to be me asking you more questions than anything. In
Yeah,
general, that's what happens. But I want to know about you, your journey, how you got into it. And eventually, if we do this more than once, then I'm going to get to know you even more because I'm not going to ask you about your journey anymore. I'm going to
right.
ask you about how's training, how's this or that, who knows. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun for me. And really, it's just trying to get people like you to be able to tell your stories because so many interesting people doing some really cool things. And think about it, like you've been running for a long time, right?
Mhm.
You have a lot of things to share, and we probably didn't even get to half the stuff. We just got to your journey, which is a great story. You've had kids, you've had to deal with that. The people, your body's probably changed a little bit. Your network from getting people to keep your kids or whatever to go do these things, you and your husband have had to switch lives and change lives. And what does that mean? A lot of people are going through that and they want to hear it.
Yeah.
And I want to get it out there. So thank you
No, I
for your time.
appreciate it. I think we always joke when we run, if you were to film or if you were to record some of the
Yeah,
conversations that people have when running, it would make a great podcast. Maybe you can do Chris on the road one day and
Chris on the
you
road.
bring your little microphone and you record.
I'll be like, you guys are going too fucking fast, man. Come on, I can't.
That would actually be really funny. Or you on a bike and you go across,
Yeah, I'll be on a
go
bike.
down to the
That's
lake one
exactly right.
Saturday morning. Wow, that would be interesting. You just catch
It'd
up
be
with them.
fun.
You have a
Yeah, I
prompt.
like it.
Yeah.
Get a couple of mics and say, hey, can you wear this real quick?
Yeah.
Or Maddie, this has been really great. Really appreciate your time. And thank you everyone for tuning in to another DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel. Don't forget to rate and review us. And Maddie, thanks again.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Take care, everyone.